Hey everyone, 7:30 report. We got round two tonight with my mate Heath Nock. We were supposed to interview Ron tonight, Ron Stoppel, but he's had to put it off till next week. So that'll be one to look forward to when he's. So wish him all the get well. Slide into his DMs and give him some love. But that's going to be a good one. So with that. Our talk last night, we sort of only got halfway with what I wanted to talk to with Heath. So he's gracious enough to, fill in a slot tonight, and we're gonna carry on again. So I'm just going to invite him in now. And it was an epic episode last night. So we'll see what. Hi to everyone that's joined in and has come back for more. I got him. Dave, he's back.
I'm in a different room.
Me too. I wanted to keep the thing going.
I don't have to hold the camera, but it's already. I don't know. I'll figure it out.
Yeah, mate. Yeah, you're versatile, mate. So just a quick one, mate. Thanks again for coming back tonight and filling in the spot of Ron. I think it's really cool that we can just keep the conversation flowing again.
Yeah, fuck.
Yeah.
Go on, eh?
Yeah, mate, it was awesome, dude. It was awesome. Hi, Benny. Hi, Norbert. I spoke with Norbert yesterday, and I've sort of lined him up for one in the future too, which is going to be good.
Oh, nice.
Yeah. He's got, as you know, mate, he's got a mad story himself.
Fuck, he loves Berlin. Just
going
to be non-stop Berlin talk. The place that he got his name FTW from.
Yep.
What is it? What is it? Like white trash? No, yeah, WT
White trash
Norbert.
Norbert. Yeah.
That fucking bar was the best. I don't think it's still
you went there?
Yeah, man. It's in like
Kreuzberg. He used to tattoo in it as well, didn't he? He had a shop in there.
Yeah, I remember I remember someone saying it, but that was like, I had a meltdown that night. It was weird.
Yep.
I went in there and it was 10 p.m.
Yep.
And I was with guys from Luxodrome and from Frima. And it was pretty sunny, like it was kind of a weird dusk. And I went in there and we got like really fucking off it, man. Like, I don't know if you've been to Berlin, but like back then it was just like Turkish Coke was everywhere.
Yeah. I went in 2000. So yeah, might as well have been a lifetime ago.
Yeah. Oh, dude. It was crazy. Anyway, I went in there and got off my tits, and then I walked out and it was the same kind of daylight, but instead of getting darker, it got brighter. I think it was like 5 a.m. and fuck, man, it rattled me. So that's, I always think of white trash is that. It was fucking cool. I hope it's still there. If it's there, go to it.
Yeah, cool. Did you meet Norbert on that trip then?
Nah.
No, okay, cool.
We've spoken about that. Yeah, nah. I think he was kind of like hiding away in the back of that fucking bar. I think that's his glory is.
Here we go, Norbert. My life, haha, mate. You got a cool story, Norbert. I'm glad you're up for it, mate. What about Tony Clash? Like, I want Tony Clash to be involved in this interview as well.
Fuck.
Norbert's. Oh, you don't know about Tony Clash? It's Norbert's alter ego.
What? Oh, hold on.
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah. Dude, Norbert, when he gets red hot, gets fucking wild.
Yeah. Here we go. Can do. Cool. So what I'm going to do, mate, I'm just going to do a little back cap of what we spoke about last night, and then we'll keep on rolling. So, we crossed like who did your first tattoo, and then how you sort of started tattooing, and sort of your progression through studios to opening up. Hi, Benny.
It's funny. Benny just said, I'm rocking the Karen. Bro, I'm going bald. It's the George Costanza, you fucking idiot. Fuck off,
mate, you
Charlie.
don't have the option to rock the Frank Zappa like Benny does. So.
Dude, if I could even get my hair to fucking project off my head that enough, I'd be laughing, but it's receding. It's not going out. Anyway.
Amazing, mate. Tonight's going to be good. So anyone that's out there that wants to jump in and ask questions or try and prime us sort of thing, like, please do it. So we sort of went, your progression from Steel Lotus to doing like a private studio, how Sydney tattooing was changing at the time, with Tattoo Dharma finishing up, being firebombed, and some new studios starting to emerge. And it was kind of like a new wave of younger and new studios in Sydney. So
Yeah.
we sort of touched on some of the big name guest artists that came through the shop. And I'm going to refer back to Norbert a little bit, because I think he was working with you guys at Hunter and Fox at that time when Chad would come through.
Yeah. He was definitely there.
And I remember Norbert saying to me that Chad sort of really influenced him to just do his own art, because, as you know, Norbert's so versatile, from portraits to color realism. He could do it all, and he just sort of went left, and he got a lot of inspiration from Chad. So I imagine at that time it injected a lot of inspiration in not only your studio but collectors, and because a lot of tattooers would come to the shop and get tattooed as well.
Yeah, man. It was. I tell you what, going to like Norbert, he's like a bit of a sponge when it comes to like where he goes in his style as well.
Yep.
When he was there, you could definitely. I think it was Stevie and Chad. Stevie definitely influenced Norbert into like reducing the palette, but also Stevie has this fucking exceptional way of leaving the perfect amount of negative space somewhere. Like he's kind of like, he'll say he's naive in it, but like the dude's a genius with that. And I think those years, definitely my favorite years in Norbert's tattooing, are the really traditional. I mean, since gone elsewhere, like when he went to you, to your shop and that, it kind of like went a little bit more back to the kind of Art Nouveau, which is where he's at now, which is fucking cool. But man, I think we're always, we're all influenced by everyone that came through that shop. I think, you know, we were talking about it yesterday, and like, I made that reference to like the fucking dirt bike in sand. Oh fuck, where was I going with this? Just had a brain fart. I personally like, so that whole Hunter and Fox was just, to me, it was more of a project than it was something with longevity. I mean, I started that shop, and that was right after the time everything was getting firebombed. I had a couple of words with some people. You know, there was like, it was pretty hot and heavy, and I opened that shop up, and like I didn't know what was going to happen with it. I didn't think I was going to be around long enough. So it took me ages to do things the legal way. And then once I kind of wised up, and I was like, you know what, fuck it. You know, we're all investing our time and energy into this shop. We need to like do it properly. So, you know, we did like, we found Sarah, did the DA, like, you know, who ended up helping everyone out.
Yeah, Sarah's a legend. Yeah, you put me on to Sarah as well.
I think I was a little bit like, I've always been, I kind of want to fuck with the norm. So if there's one way of doing it, I want to see, like, if that's the beautiful way, I want to see the ugly side of it. Or if it's like, I want to see what else is out there. And, you know, like, Sydney was fucking plagued with no guest artists. I mean, there were some guest artists coming to Tattooed Armour, but at the same time, there was a lot of, like, rumors of, like, oh, yeah, if you come there, something's going to happen here and that. And I think people probably just trusted when I was like, fuck it, man, just come. Like, I'll cop it. Like, if that's where it goes down, I'll take it.
Yeah, I mean, it's got nothing to do with you.
You're my guest. You can come, you know. And people were paying they were paying to work at the shop as well, you know. They were big names, but, you know, like, I know a lot of people thought they were getting a free fucking ride, like, but no, man, everyone paid their way. Like, even Chad and Steve Byrne, like, they took it on as their shop as well, you know. They were there. Dude, back at that time, Chad was there probably every fucking month or two. I mean, Steve Belton was there nearly more times than less. Like, we had Dano there all the time. Sham, well, everyone would know as Zam. Fuck, it was like Simon L was always there. Dude, I think everyone, and it was good. But that was like, I feel like it was kind of a prime spot for that to happen because it's a big enough city to have collectors. So we had these guys come through, and it erupted, man. I felt like tattooing for everyone erupted around that time. Like
100%.
Just having more people in the town, because they fuck off. So they were coming and they were working. And then when they fucked off, they were in the shop and they were talking to all of us. You know, a lot of people are like, my old man, it took my old man till I started tattooing for him to get tattooed, and he's covered. Because my dad's like a pretty rough, aggressive guy. But he just didn't ever want to go in the shop and have to deal with that shit. He thought that everyone was a prick. And people have soon to, like, the more shops they go in and out of, like, no, it's really not like that. Like, well, it's not like that anymore. It's a good fucking, like, go to different shops, get tattooed by as many different people as you can. So when people are coming to us and they were like, maybe they were getting tattooed off Chad. And then
Yep.
they were like, oh, who's coming next week? And it was like, Steve.
Yep.
And then this and
Yep.
that. But then they were like, oh, I really want to get one of your stuff. And like,
Yep.
oh, this guy at this shop does it. It's like, go get tattooed off all of them. Like, you don't, it's not a fucking soccer team.
Yep.
Like,
yeah.
I mean, Japanese tattooing's a bit different. Like,
Yep.
you kind of want to have like the human, like the person's body is like the artwork itself. But like traditional, man, like, just
mate, that's
something.
like, yeah, 100%. Like, it's beautiful. Like, as collectors, like, traditional probably lends itself to it more than Japanese. But like, you know, for me, like, I've got a bodysuit and I've been tattooed by 70, 80 people, and I'll still get more. I'm getting layovers at, you know, all that, you know, again, and all this sort of stuff. But for me, with Japanese stuff, if I start something on someone, like, I don't own them. Like, you know, and what the beauty we've got in the shop now is, you know, people are getting tattooed by Cole, by Som, by Feezy, like, you know, by Lance, all like mixing it up between us. And if you've got a good Japanese artist, they can blend into what somebody else has done. So, you know, a sleeve by someone else, a back piece, it's, you know, but definitely trad lends itself more to it, and you can pack more in. So
I think that was the time, and I hope people don't bring it back to where it was before, but I think right around that time, a lot of shops were getting people to more collect. Yeah. And I think that was to me, that was probably my favorite years of tattooing, was like right when all the guests were coming. And some people had the shits, man, because they were like, oh, you know, like, fucking that shop is getting all these people, and, you know, like, what are they up to? And this and that. It's just like, man, everyone was getting tattooed at that point. It was great.
Yeah.
Like,
But even now, there's still more than enough pieces of the pie to go around. You know,
for sure.
It's changed slightly, like with social media and advertising and all that sort of stuff, but it's still out there. You still give it a go. But, you know, at that time, like, you know, you guys are everyone involved in that shop was so psyched on tattooing and so in love with it in this new era. And your customers, man, like, without our customers, we're fuck all, you know.
Without a doubt.
Yeah, and to be able to bring that to your studio or the city or, you know, the landscape of tattooing is amazing. And everyone's a winner, you know. So it was amazing times.
It's like everyone thinks of, you know, like, I mean, everyone wants to have, like, all the other tattooists go, oh, yeah, this guy's great. And, like, we want the recognition of that. But really, the first people that we want fucking to really recognize us and love us is the customers, without a doubt. I mean, that's the truth of it. It's kind of it's a bit of a pity now, because I really wonder where all the younger tattooists now, like, where their goals are.
Yep.
You know, like, when we were going, or when like, you know, like, the one thing that made it real cool for us was we were getting invited to every fucking convention at Hunter and Fox, like, all the invite only. And, like, dude, that was a goal. Like, going to, like, my main goal in life was to go to London convention. And I finally, like, you know, like, that's the main goal. And, like, I've done all the conventions. I never did London convention, and now it's fucking gone. And, like, to me, I feel like the heart has been ripped out of the tattooing that I loved. And I mean, it's like music, you know, like, you know, 10 years, 20 years ago, only people were talking about rock, but now people are talking about trap rap and shit. So, I mean, tattooing's an art form as well. So it should kind of, it's going to come into things where you don't recognize it anymore. And I just, like, I always think it's like, what are people's goals now? Like, do people even care about working around other tattoo artists? Like, do they have a Chad Kappelinger? Do they have a Steve Byrne? Like, do they have a convention to work at? You know, I had this discussion with, why am I forgetting his name, that runs the Sydney Tattoo Convention?
Kev Mack.
All right. Yeah. So I had a bit of, like, I was upset about everything that had happened over COVID. Yeah. But at the end of the day, he is a person. Yeah. His personal life outside, and I had a chat with him. I had a personal chat with him about what I thought about his professional world. And he was like, you know what, man, I'd love to get you back. And I was like, I probably won't, man. And it's got nothing to do with you. It's just that conventions have changed. Like, those were the goals. And it's not a goal anymore. Like, it's almost like a fucking sales convention. There's no heart to it. And he was like, oh, man,
I think
it's true.
I think, a lot of things is you know, especially now, a lot of people entering the industry are coming from, you know, maybe a middle class background. They've got university education. They've got a lot of different things, and it's a lot easier, which
Yeah.
is not a bad thing. These are just the facts of
No,
life.
not at all.
So it's, I think because like, yeah, for me to work at my first ever convention or even to go to one was like a pivotal moment in your career. But now it's just, there's no real vetting process. It's just super easy to do.
Pay your
Everything,
fucking fee. Yeah.
yeah, everything is so easily attainable. So like, I like chatting to younger tattooers to try and, you know, understand. I want to understand like a younger tattooer's mindset, and what they want out of their career, and you know, all this sort of stuff. Here we go. Someone's just, Lord Besington, tattoo industry is booming now. Do you guys see it continue? I personally think it's always going to be booming.
Dude, it's never going anywhere.
Yeah, like old school guys have always been saying, "Oh, it's going to dry up. It's going to dry up," but
nah,
it's just the progression. And like you mentioned, every shop or every moment has a moment in time where they're hot.
Yeah,
and then it's what you do. I mentioned last night, like, you know, Mayo said to me, it's what you do with it to set yourself up for the future or the direction you want to go in. But I think now you can come on the scene super quick and disappear super quick, just because there's so much more competition around. And I guess that just shows your love and dedication of it. Like, you know, and like me, I'm a good tattooer. I'm not the greatest, but I love people. And, you know, I walk around the shop at least once or twice a day to see what's getting done in the shop and check it all out and talk to people. I remember other customers' names because I'm just psyched on tattooing. And I think customers feed off that as well. They get a kick out of it. You know, they're part of it. They're, you know, we're all inclusive sort of thing.
Man, you know what? I said this to Morgan like fucking ages ago. Like, tattooing has, and it took me a while because I had to see the years. It's got a 5 years up and a 5 years down. So it depends where you're standing. You could be seeing a boom at the start of the 2 years of it climb, and then you get to the top and it's fucking great. You could have 5 years of nothing but perfectness, and then all of a sudden it dries up. And it doesn't really dry up. It's just styles are changing. I mean, how many fucking barcode tattoos have you done lately? Because that was when I started.
Not, mate. People are bringing their you know, their cigarette packet. You do that on them, like, and then you put their date of birth in the bottom or their phone number, like. You know,
I had a fucking program. I had a program that I would run in like their name. Who fucking knows? Like, who could scan it? You couldn't scan it. Like, this is red hot. I'm at the fucking forefront of barcode tattoos. Man, I remember like doing those, and like kanjis. Like, I mean, everyone did kanjis, but it was the barcode that was the real hot thing. And like, I remember seeing a dude with one on his back of his neck, like. Like 10 years ago, and I was like, who did that? And he turned around and he goes, you did. And I was like, oh, fuck. I mean, I haven't seen one of those in ages. QR code, for sure.
And it's funny to see those things go through. So Lord Besington just asked again, demand will always be there, just styles will evolve, and question mark. Sure. Like now there's going to be so many more new styles coming out. Like there's all this 3-needle fine line stuff at the moment that at the start of my career, people would have said, don't do that. It's not going to last. But also, it doesn't matter if the customer is happy with it and they love it, power to them, you know?
Yeah.
And people are doing amazing work like that.
I mean, I think that's the one thing, like, you know, I had a big problem with a young bloke that works for me, and that he was doing stuff that was like, I mean, it had the best intentions, but it didn't last. And he was pushing the boundaries, but he wasn't really honest to his customers. And, you know, he was watering down his like ink to the point of being super like grey wash. He was pushing it in with like a fucking, like a single. And like, man,
it's going to be gone in a couple of summers.
Like, it's the hardest fucking rodeo to ride, you know, like it's just, it's impossible. But if you can tell your customers, look, we can do it. I'd rather it fall out than blow out. Can we just go down this path? Then that's kind of, you can't floor anyone. If it fucking falls out and the customer goes, I went there and it came out, it's like, well, did they tell you? It's like, well, yeah. And it's like, well, then that's that tattoo, you know, like that was it. I think like, but you know, when I was in America last, like everyone was, and you always know the styles are coming back when a tattooist starts getting it.
Yeah.
And fucking everyone at Rock of Ages was getting Borneo tribal.
Wow,
I
nice.
love tribal, so I can't. If that fucking comes back, I'm totally in.
Mate, good tribal is fucking hard, you know, from a design point of view and also from a technical point of view. You know, like a couple of years ago, I was in the Goa convention in India, and a guy, Matt Hanumantra, he's a mad tattooer from the UK, heavy black work. Like, he did a seminar, and I went along to it, me and a bunch of other like Indian tattooers. And at the end of it, it was more like his life philosophy, like how he approaches a tattoo and a mindset and this sort of stuff. And at the end of it, he's like, mate, what the fuck are you doing coming to a tribal seminar? I go, man, I can still learn stuff. And if I could take a shift in another life, man, I'd be a Euro hippie tattooer, man, with dreadlocks and face tats.
Oh, don't get dreadlocked.
Or a shaved head or whatever, you know. But if I could turn left in my career, I'd go down that road because I find it so inspirational and amazing. So, all right, we got some. So, Miss Dr. Wu's gone. Yeah, QR codes are the new ones. 7T. Benno's gone. Make tribal great again. I think there's hope.
It was great.
Yeah, and Benno, you're in a prime position, mate, in Nambour. It's like ground zero for cutting edge tattooing. So, you know, you got to lead the charge.
Can I give some advice and warning to anyone that's going to do tribal? Because, like, you'll remember this. So, when I started trying to do tribal, right, I remember reading if you got a bottle of Pelican ink and then boiled it, and then you
in another pot,
you get tribal black. Dude, I nearly got fucking kicked out of that share house that I was living in. Because I don't know if you ever smelt what fucking boiling ink smells like.
It's not nice.
Anyway, I remember having that. I hated it. And then I bought Starbright Tribal Black. And this thing was fucking asphalt tar. Don't ever do it. Just use the black you got. I know Solid has a real good black, but don't. If anyone fucking rereads history and goes, oh, the thicker the black, the better, don't. It doesn't work.
Well, mate, remember, what about all that fucking ink that used to creep and blur because it was so fucking intense? You'd have like a blue shade off over someone's skin, you know, like creeping outside the tattoo. Black Rat's gone.
You got that far, I couldn't even get the shit in.
Black Rat's gone. George Clooney in Dusk Till Dawn. Mate, he did a lot. And then, and then in one of like the Ocean's 11 or whatever the series of that, I think Brad Pitt's got a tattoo on his hand.
Fuck, man, how many times you get people come in, they're like, I want tribal on my neck to go like that.
Yeah, just a little bit, just poking up outside the t-shirt.
Fuck, dude, that was the worst. I mean, we had it in a folder, and you could just go, oh, like this, and like, oh yeah, bro, like this, like that.
Mate, I worked with a guy, Sheldon Bowers. He worked with me at Innovision for a while, and he used to talk about tribal to people. And he'd go, he's very, very deep guy, right? And he'd go, all right, are you an aggressive person? You know, and if you're aggressive by nature, we're going to make it sharp and spiky. But if you're more chilled out and stuff, we're going to do more curly ones with thinner spikes and all that sort of stuff.
Wow, so, that sounds like. Have you ever watched Rick and Morty?
I know.
Part that's all spiritual, but also hating. You're not gonna imagine that,
mate. Here's one of my old portfolios, and I'm sure it's not gonna have to go far. Oh, look at this, tribal.
It's
all
heavy.
Tribal, like, mate. It was, you know, all day, every day if you wanted to. So, all right, let's because otherwise we're nearly at the halfway mark of tonight, mate. So we can do this all night. So, all right. So let's talk a bit about like your painting, like, because you have always, from me looking at, you've always been doing like, you're doing a lot of like prints back in the day, large scale paintings, tattoo related, but now you're on the canvases. So when were you painting from a young kid, from a young age? Like, where was the crossover? Or
yeah, I mean, so my dad, I grew up on the showgrounds, right? So. Yep. I grew up around rides. People say carny. Carny's a derogatory term. A lot of people will despise it. So, but anyway, I grew up on the showground. So as a little kid, I just get given fucking colouring in books. And that's all I ever did was colour in. And for Christmas, I remember getting those black packs that had everything in it. And none of it fucking worked. But anyway, I'd get those. I was always painting. I was painting in every, like, everything that I like, every school that I went to. But as I got older, I didn't really like the art teachers. I found them that was the same as English. They were too, like, it was too interpretive for me at that moment. And having ADHD, it just didn't make sense to me. So I went to technical drawing. And then technical drawing led into tattooing. I was always painting. I was doing the snowboard and like surfboard designs and that. But I was always painting. But the painting was a bit more illustrative. And the goal was, I will do the tattooing, and then as I get older and I can establish myself and I have that groundwork, I'll get back into fine arts more. So the style that I've always been quite into is still life painting. Like Dutch Golden Age. So it's the 17th century Dutch painting. It's a lot of glazing, a lot of depth in the paintings, and that and landscapes. So I've always felt that landscapes is something that I always want to paint, but no one wants to buy. And I think you know, since about 2017, I was putting out some fine art paintings. That were all right. I was painting in acrylic. I was in France painting in 2018. I did a bunch of paintings that were like, that kind of had something going. I remember, like, because Winston from Parkway bought one and he said, just keep cracking on, man. Like, you're going to, this is great. And it was looser. And it kind of felt right. So that's kind of, I was painting harder there. I came back. I found a farmhouse down here, which is now my home, which was kind of a savior. I had a lot of stuff going in my life back then, and I kind of had to bail out. And this is my art studio, and the goal was to just try and half it and try and tattoo and paint. I'll always tattoo, mind you, but like I was saying before, tattooing it's not the arena I recognize anymore, and I still love it, and I think it's great. I just, man, I watched Ed Hardy speak about tattooing, and he just was like, you know, it's kind of not my place. I always tattoo my fun shit. And it's been great, like, especially because I can't leave the country, but I would like to paint more and then just tattoo the people that ask rather than sit around and wait and hustle for it. My tattoos, like my paintings, like I've always looked up to Jeffrey Smart, Edward Hopper, Hopper. What am I saying? You know, like Picasso, Matisse. God, there's so many that I can't like. Look, anyway, like the paintings that I'm at now, I had a friend take me up to Ben Quilty's studio. And Quilty was like looking at the paintings and he's like, cool. And he's like, well, what do you want to do? And I said this, and he goes, man, you've got to bring everyone, you've got to drag everyone with you. Don't expect them, don't expect like you're doing it for them. Just like do it and drag them along. And that's when the skeletons, because I like fine arts, like portrait painting, like John Singer Sargent and that, but I don't necessarily want to paint it. But I want the human figure to be there. And that's how those skeleton paintings came about. They're pretty emotive. The landscapes are like, I don't know, they're loose, they're very tonalist, but I enjoy it. Anyway, we'll see where it all heads, but
but I think with
art for me.
I think with what you're doing now, like, you know, there was a question before, like, you know, what's tattooing, it's going to evolve, and like, you know, like we're talking about like younger artists, what do they want out of it and this sort of thing. I think you're in the forefront of like older established tattooers, because I kind of think in years to come, people are going to be a tattooer, a DJ, graphic design, probably a personal trainer, or there's going to be a mix over a cross section of a big skill base, and they're going to do a bit of this, a bit of that, and whatever. So, you know, now with what you're doing, I think is, you know, you're sort of like, I know Les has done it, you know, obviously Ed Hardy and quite a few others, but you're doing your own thing and taking it straight away in a different direction from what you have done. And it, you know, in the beginning, like, I don't know, did you find it, like, was it nerve-wracking or was it like scary, or but I know you're a confident person, so you probably just forged ahead? Like, were you nervous to show people in the beginning?
Mainly in the art world, eh?
Yeah,
Not really
cool.
so much in tattooing.
Yep.
I think people have expected the unexpected in tattooing from me. I can do
Yep.
whatever the fuck I want. Like, it doesn't
Yep.
really surprise anyone, but
Yep.
trying to be an artist, not a tattoo artist doing art is
Yep.
extremely, it's hard, man. And I'm going to be branded with that brush. And I didn't want to, because I heard what it did to Ed. I remember speaking to Ed at SFO about it. And and everyone asked Ed, like, oh man, like tattooing. And I was like, Ed, like, what, like, why the fuck aren't you in a museum? And he was just like, I put it down to the tattooing, you know? And and also, like, they're not the forethinking, like, Ed should be in a museum. And we spoke about this before, and I hope it doesn't mean any, it sounds wrong in any way, but Ed's art should be in an Asian museum. But Ed's not Asian. And I think a fine art world isn't ever going to see him doing Asian art very well. It's going to see a tattoo artist doing Asian tattoo art. And
it makes sense.
It's kind of, I've been having to put my head down and my bum up. And like, the best thing about tattooing is it gives you, if you do it right, it gives you a real good work ethic. You've already jumping 20 steps ahead for a lot of people who go to art school. You can forethink everything and figure it out in a mechanical term. And also you can ride it, because, I mean, you start a painting and it doesn't look the way it should until the end, but like, you've got to rush, you've got to go through the rough part. Sometimes tattooing, you'll lay down a couple of colors and it looks like shit, but you've got to fight to the end. Just to get that through, and then it looks perfect. So I think that helps in the art. But the ridicule from the art world was, and it still is, it's something like, I want to, like, I would like to have respect there, but I know, and like, Ed from fucking China Heights said, is like, you're back mopping the floors, man. And it's the truth. I mean, I'm a 37-year-old guy, and that seems pretty late, but it depends what angle you're looking at it. So I'm back mopping the floor, and you know, like, it's cool. I do more paintings than people ever see. Some people,
but it must be exciting as well to be, you know, in the formative stage. Like, but you've been painting for quite a long time anyway, but you've got your clear direction now. And also being at your age, like, you're not too worried about, you know, so much the fucking rumor mill or what people say or think. You know, you just get on with it. Like I know you're incredibly productive. And like, we spoke about that before, like, a lot of maybe normal artists that come through the art school and all the rest of it, like, what's their goal? To get an art show, to maybe first get into a shared art space, then maybe have their own art space, or, you know, it's a real struggle for a lot of them to be successful, you know, but I, like you touched on it, I think the work ethic is huge, you know, and art in general can be incredibly isolating. It's just you or your canvas or your paper or your iPad or whatever your medium is. And, you know, you have your moments where you don't want to do it, but you have to push through, like, you know, writer's block or whatever. You just got to forge on.
You can only paint what's in front of you. And like, you've got to work everything out of your head. I mean, I draw everything, and I literally, like, I paint what I've got to paint to go to the next painting. And sometimes I love it and sometimes I hate it, but I got to do it. And I think that's a skill that's developed over life, is just, and like I say to anyone that's like, I mean, fuck, you might be painting like the shittest paintings in your ideal, but you might be looking at you know, like, fuck it, a singer sergeant, and you're like, you want to paint like that, but with your paintings like this, like, just paint what's in front of you. Like, fuck, don't get wrapped up in it and just get it done. And it eventually rolls and it pulls through, and everything, you know, comes together, and, you know, it comes in crescendos into a beautiful work. And when people in the art world start to go, that's cool, but you got to be hungry on that all the time. Like, I'm pretty lucky. Like, I work pretty tough on it, like, pretty hard. Like, I try and be respectful, and I put my head out there more than most people probably should. And I probably annoy a lot of fucking people, but this is
You know,
something that I want. And like,
yeah,
I paint for me, and the paintings are, you know, I did a bunch of commissions that it just had no soul in it. And I just said, look, I can't do them. Look, I'm just going to do series of paintings. And when they come available, buy them. Because the way that I paint, I just, you know, I got people saying like, oh, can you do it this and doing that? I'm like, no, because a lot of the things that I paint, especially the skeletons, like, there's certain movement in it that is relative to where it stands on the canvas. There's a reason that it's there, and the interactions of either 1 or 5 or a fire or a mountain, it's all got that, and I can't necessarily explain it. I can illustrate it. So it's hard when someone tells me what to do. That's the difference. In tattooing, you can tell me what to draw. I'll tell you what will work, but I'll go down the path. The painting, you can't. I find I can't do that.
No, that makes 100% sense. Like, if they're going to start trying to dictate the terms to you, mate, that's for a tattoo, not for artwork, you know. And like, obviously, you know, I'm good friends with Mayo. He does a lot of commissions. His stuff, you know, the lettering and the layering. So I think from memory, like, he might get the input that someone might say to him is like a bit of a color palette or something, or, you know, along those lines.
I mean, he's pretty seasoned in that. Like, he's switched on. I don't know if you've seen, but do you ever see Mayo do the Jackson Pollock painting? Like
I remember. Dude,
do you know how many fucking people wrote to me and were like, oh, have you ever seen this? Like, this is, I was like, that's Jackson Pollock. I mean, my skeletons are influenced by Jackson Pollock.
Wow, okay,
That's just the movement of him and all that. So seeing when fucking Mayo did that, like, to me, that is something special. To see a guy in it. And I think that gestural, although that's pretty constructive with his, it's still got this gestural movements.
Oh, 100%.
It comes in and out of focus. I like that about his art.
Yeah, it's amazing. And obviously, you know, the graffiti background as well, it's just whole body movements. It's almost like watching him paint the big stuff has got a Tai Chi or Kung Fu sort of feel to it. So,
man, that guy, that guy and Steve Norton fucking influenced me so much into seeing tattoo artists that weren't 100% tattoo artists, but weren't 100% artists. They were always in between the two, and they were super stoked about it. And like, I definitely say Mayo and Steve Belton were like, they shone a light for me to see that there were ways to move forward and not really care. So
amazing. Can you?
I'm gonna ask for a wine. Keep talking though.
Yeah, do it. So as you can see, like, you know, I'm going to talk to Heath a little bit. I was going to ask you to just show us a little bit what you got going behind you. And like at the end of last night, you started to like show us a few little bits and pieces. So, you know, with your painting and everything, I know you've got some cool stuff on the horizon. Like, didn't you recently get one of your paintings in the New South Wales Parliament?
Yes, so that was the landscape.
How did that come about?
Well, there's a goal in art to have your work hung in like government house, like bodies, you know, like permanent, put into their collection. I got a friend, Dr. Marjorie O'Neill, who's a politician. Marge is always asking me for a painting. And I said, look, definitely, like, that painting went into the Win, which is an art prize. It's the Archibald Sulman and the Win. I was really proud of it, and it's, you know, I get like a couple of people have said it's very reminiscent of like Sidney Nolan, and I never even saw that. Like, I mean, I look up to more Russell Drysdale in that way. But anyway, I was like, I painted what looks to be a desert, but it's actually it's a small rock formation in the national park. I just laid on my guts, and the grass looked like fucking trees. Anyway, I painted it, and
did you paint it on site in the national park?
No. So I don't really plein air paint. Last night I was looking out a window, so a lot of the backgrounds that you'll see in my paintings, I've seen that in that today, like in that day, and then I paint it. But that one, I had to take a photo because we just walked 30 Ks. I was dying. I was an absolute prick. So I painted it, and Marge was just, she was like, I want to see that.
What do we have to do?
just asked, like, would it be good to be in the Parliament House? And I was like,
Yep.
I'd feel honoured. So yeah, now
Yes.
it's in the Parliament House.
Amazing, mate. Amazing. So I know I know you had quite some plans to go back to America and have some art shows over there, because that's a big fan base of yours, both tattooing and art.
Yeah.
But what have you got on? I know about it. Maybe you can let the viewers know you got something on the horizon for later on this year with your art.
Yeah. So October 8th at the Sinario, I have a solo show of it's called Old Dreams.
Yep.
It's all a figure. It's a figure, and it's kind of like a landscape and figure relationship show.
Yep.
So the one behind me is not for it.
Yep.
This painting has plagued me. It's
Yep.
gonna be like, there's a tiny little one outside. It's a Mother Earth.
Yep.
So my mum died 2020.
Yep.
She drunk herself to death, and that year Steve Belton, he died of an overdose, and it rattled me big time. And I'd never dealt with death, and I just felt, you know, have you ever heard that Johnny Cash song, "And the Man Comes Around"? And at the end, he talks about, you know, the death on the white horse.
Yep.
I painted that for that. So
yeah, wow.
But anyway,
powerful stuff, healing stuff.
These are the figures. And this is just a couple that are drying right now, but it's, I don't know, like, I feel pretty connected to this country. And any country, and I like the connection between music and fire. I find it fucking weird that human beings act different when they're around fire and when they're outside. And like, you know, you watch a movie that's like Into the Wild, and everyone has this great escape in their idea of, I'm going to move. I live in the fucking country, but I know how to work a country. So, and I'm just on a farm, you know. But to me, that ideal of that cabin that you go to and those things that you do that are quite primitive are like, you can't do it. Like, a lot of people can't do it, but it's their escape plan. And just these kind of figures, just, they're not anything. They're not any race. They're not any country in particular. They're just the relationship of the figure and the broken down movement that they relate into the landscape. So
to me, it sounds like, you know, like you're saying all that, you're connected to the land. You know, you live out on the land as well, in the wild. Like, you're surrounded by it all, and that connection. And like saying you're because I know you're a pretty quick painter, so you know you'll compose a lot of stuff. I imagine it's pretty much influenced from today or yesterday. It's not like you're whipping out a photo from 6 months ago, and you know, so it's real raw and powerful.
I mean, where I live, it's, you know, the fucking sky touches the ground. There's nothing but land, and there's a lot of shifts in light here. And all year it's different. It's this place really, I mean, those skeletons that are crawling across the grass, like that's literally the back of my property. You know, and like, I just could, they are the fence line, you know, the fence is all tangled up at my house, and you know, we have the fire, and these guys just, you know, the fence is cold and it's sterile, and just the way that it moves, it reminds me of the fence. So, you know, like,
mate, it's gonna be good. So like, I know about the plan. So you shows in October. I'm pretty sure you're gonna keep a lot of stuff under wraps. But just by talking to you, it's going to be, you know, a good thing. And we also spoke about, like, over a couple of nights, you have your collector's night. And then, like, remember when I saw you a while ago at Shell's exhibition at China Heights? Like, he was supported by a lot of the tattoo community. And then we spoke about, you know, with your show in the Sinario space, which is in Hibernian House. So it's going to be cool, and you can curate it. It's going to be like a party feel, excitement, like a real, you know, celebration of life and art.
I really hope, I know that a lot of people in the tattoo community and just kind of like community that sticks close to tattooing are really afraid of going to art galleries. I really hope that this exposes them. Also, by the way, Shao is probably one of the most special painters, and he probably will not tell you this. He probably will like shrug it off. But contemporary Aboriginal Indigenous art, that guy is fucking forefront. Him and Otis are. There's so many of them. It's super fucking exciting. That guy is like incredible. I think everyone really, if you don't know, you should be looking. He's represented by China Heights, which is another amazing gallery in Sydney. But I really hope like a lot of people come down. I mean, to be honest, like I always fear that no one's going to fucking show up. But anyway, I really need to see these paintings all hung, and I need to see the movement of them all. So if no one shows up, I'll probably just get pissed with you and.
Mate, it'll be a sellout, mate. Like it'll be people lining up. It's gonna be cool. Like, and I think they're just natural thoughts to have anyway. But
that
I think
space is incredible, by the way. The Sinario is like from the stairwell to the front door to inside. It's like that's a fucking journey in itself. Like that's I hope people go in there just to see that.
Yeah, it's gonna be something special. Like, and I think like. With the art world, I think it's going through a change as well. Like there's a lot of new blood coming into it, and there's a lot more new. Just the audience that collects artwork now has changed a lot too. So there's a lot of, people that aren't from the upper echelons of society. You don't have to drop 20 grand on a piece of art or 100 grand or whatever. Like art's becoming more collectible. So your average person or people that are right into it, they can maybe afford a couple of grand for a piece of art and and have an amazing experience with it. And I know with you, like you can talk and you can give people like a real insight into that piece of artwork, which some artists sort of shy away from and can't communicate because they've probably just been locked in a studio forever and a day, and they sort of maybe don't have the social skills that are maybe needed. So yeah, it's going to be good.
I really like people seeing the artworks that have no idea about art. I like the fucking that the split second forget his name. Teacher of tonalists. Anyway, I forget. Meldrum said it's the very moment what you feel as soon as you see it. And then your mind will start to calculate it, and then you'll start to bring your own idea in it, and then you will turn it into like something that, you've moved it from the first moment. But that first moment, hearing someone go, oh, I see this, I fucking love that. So like when people say, I don't get it, my niece, Elle, literally says at every painting, is it finished? Every fucking painting. And I'm always like, yes, it's fucking finished. Or sometimes I'm like, no, it's fucking beginning. And she's like... She's fucking hilarious. But that's cool. I always send it to her and my neighbor next door, like the farmer next door. We argue about politics a lot. She's very, I don't know, I won't speak about it too much, but we argue a lot. Like we, in a good way, in proper debate. Where she stands and where I stand, and we're all for the good of everyone. But I send it to her and she goes, no, it's too dark. And it's like, I could literally paint like a fucking, like the most loving scene. She's like, nah, it's too dark. Darkness. I kind of like that.
That's life, mate. That's life. So, mate, we've got about 10 minutes left. Tonight's just flown again. We got some really good comments coming through, and a lot of people saying hi and saying they're going to come along and they love your paintings and all that sort of stuff. So, just tell us a bit about what you're doing now, like where you're tattooing, and Talia as well, like where she's working and what your plans are for this. I know you're going to paint through this lockdown, but, like the next year ahead as well, if that's even possible to think.
So I sold up Hunter and Fox to Jamie Kirchin, great mate of mine. It would have gone to Lauren, but she didn't want to work. She didn't want to work for herself, and there was just there was
it's in good hands, and that shop's legacy. It's a powerful shop still.
Yeah, I calculated down to me, and also at the same time, like I wanted to paint. I didn't want to commit to a shop, And I found that hard because if you came to work for me, and you only want to do 3 days a week, you're working somewhere else. Now I'm asking of that. And there's only one person that can tolerate that, which is Dean Carlisle. So I'm at Hibernia Tattoo. And I think Dean's probably like, man, that guy was a fucking prick at the beginning of my tattoo career, but I looked up to him, loved him, and I think that that's come back around, and he's got me there, and he's loving. So I'm there, and I also guest out at Great White. Talia works at Great White. But yeah, at the moment, so down here I'm painting. Talia's boxing, and she's going to fight. She was meant to fight for the amateurs for Tim Sue's gym. Wow. She got septic, fucking died. So taking her back. So we have a boxing gym down here. It's been good, but I'm her only sparring partner, and she fucking rattles me, and it's horrible. I come from a boxing family. And I have no heart for it. I mean, it's cool. Sometimes I'll fucking get a bit of pep in my step, and I'll rip a good body shot. I know her ribs are really bruised on her right ribs. It's surprising with left hip. But so I've got that. We're boxing, painting. I was going to have time off to paint in August, so this has kind of been good. We're not in lockdown down here, so we can kind of come and go. We just can't really come near Sydney. So I'm doing that. I've got the art show in October. I'm included in a group show at China Heights, which is great. And then next year I've got another big exhibition I can't talk about because I'm I don't know,
amazing.
I haven't signed anything, and I've been told not to say anything. But it's going to be a different one to the Sinario. That come down to more of my landscapes. And that's my plan. I really hope I can get fucking back into Texas. Get back to America. It's COVID, man. It's killing us.
Mate, this is just to indulge my fantasies. Can you tell us a bit more about your time with Ed Hardy? Like, because he's sort of been there, done that. And did he give you any good advice or anything? Or
man, Ed's like trying to speak to a fucking escalator. The dude, and I only speak to Ed at Taki's convention. And he rolls, and he just you've got this long. And I think it's just because he's answered every question. I think the main thing is, the best thing he's told me is just art. I don't know, it's been good to see someone that has put their whole life into archiving all their art and this and that, but I've kind of learning from him in an outsider looking in. So I mean, Ed's full of fucking stories, and you can ask him, but dude, you got to be quick. You got to be walking with him, and then also when he's right, there's some giant fucking American in the way. So
and then other people are trying to get at him.
Vice did that amazing documentary of him. I've shown a bunch of artists, painters that doc, and I think that everyone should fucking.
I think that's the I Tattooed the World.
I forget what it is. It just talks about him. It's not about his tattooing. It goes more into his art, and it talks about the scrolls that he did.
That 2000, the big dragon scroll.
But it shows man, that guy has been an artist his whole life. If you ask Ed, I think he thinks he's an artist more than he's a tattoo artist.
But everyone else sees it the other way.
Hey?
And but most people would see it the other way, especially the galleries and all that sort of stuff.
For sure. So I see that I'm an artist. I don't think that any of the tattoos that I do are necessarily a style in particular. I think I borrow from everything, and I kind of fuck with it, because to me, I think tattooing is one of the freest. I mean, you can do whatever the fuck you want. I can do a skull that's literally a circle with a fucking oval, another circle, a triangle, and then just a weird shape. And it looks like a skull. You did that on a fucking canvas. You've also got to you got to swing through all the fucking dicks for anyone to even look at that. But tattooing, you can do it there and then, and people love it, and it looks great. So I think tattooing for that as well. It's a beautiful thing.
Yeah, totally. And I think just touching on that, art changing as well. China Heights has been pushing the envelope for years. Like, you know, it's like such a machine and such a well-respected gallery and powerhouse, like putting on so much different stuff. And their customer base would be, for example, or their people that come to those exhibitions are probably completely different to the Olsen Gallery or something like that. So it's a much more younger and, you know, more younger crowd.
Literally, like, I mean, not only do they show up, I think going back to, like, say, where Hunter and Fox, what, you know, like that with like guest artists and that, like, man, I really think China Heights is exposing a world of art that is super contemporary, that hasn't happened since Impressionism. Sounds weird to say, but like, it's not only the art, it's the people that they get involved, and they foresee people's careers, and they work with people. That's pretty fucking powerful, man. And like, I can't really speak about Olsen Gallery, but, you know, like, it seems to be like they're riding the horse the same way around the same paddock, and there's so much in art. I mean, fuck, there's a new artist every year. Like, it's got to change. Same as tattooing. It has to change.
Yeah, for sure. So we got a couple of minutes left. So last night you did promise us a piano solo. We were going to do that on the intro. I think you're answering my question.
I'll go play.
All right, stay tuned, people.
My piano is really
out of tune.
Yeah, it's
all right. Here we go.
That's where it's
amazing.
Out of tune,
mate. Amazing, Heath. Once again, mate, you've outdone yourself, buddy. Let's just, you know, let's wrap it up there, mate, on that note, because that was such a beautiful way to end this. But mate,
I was gonna play Claire de Lune for you all, but fuck it.
Well, mate, this is going to happen again one day, I'm sure. So your first Sydney solo show is coming up at Sinario Gallery on the 8th of October, which is in Surrey Hills in the Hibernia building. There'll be details to follow. So, you know, if people want to get tattooed by you, like, what's the best way?
We're going to have wine by Built to Spill. And also we've got a tequila, whiskey, and a fucking gin company jumping on different nights. It's going to be for a few nights, and I highly suggest people come along.
Amazing.
Sorry if I interrupt you.
No, you're right. So if someone wants to, in the meantime, like, book in for a tattoo with you or inquire about a painting or something, what's the best way to do that?
Well, at the moment, there'll be no paintings for sale. They'll only be at the show. So paintings are just wait for the show. I'm only, between now and October, I am like painting every painting I can for it. There might be 100 paintings painted, but you're only going to have a few. So we'll see what happens. Tattooing, I only work Thursday to Saturday. And get in on it. And just, you know, email me or DM me. I'm very happy that Instagram's very easy to get a hold of people. So I don't have a fucking, dude, 2010, I was booked out a year. Right now, I'm about booked out a couple of weeks. So, but anyway, I only work 3 days a week. So if I got to get someone in, I can push it. So
good.
I'm very easy.
Mate, awesome. I'm just going to say, mate, thanks again. Thanks for doing
Tickles.
2 nights in a...
There's a guy on there named Tickles I played ice hockey with. He's a fucking ice hockey
mate,
player.
that was one of my questions I was going to say, bring up as well, because, you played ice hockey for a while. You've done so much in your career, mate, and there's still so much to come, mate. So it's awesome.
Right. Ice hockey's incredible. There's a fucking, get in it. Buy some. I own a company that makes ice hockey gear called Cheapskate Hockey. Buy that shit.
There you go. Awesome. All right, mate. I love you. Thanks again, and I'll chat soon.
All right, mate. Catch you later.
See you, mate. Bye.